Welcome, people, to the Mum's Calling Me for Bed podcast with me, Mature Whiskey.
Me, Andreas Webb.
Me, Elliot Agnew.
So, what are we talking about today, boys? Films?
Let's talk about the
Talking about films.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we got...
prequels first.
Oh,
The Star Wars prequels.
Oh God, no! I don't actually think there's been a worse film since the prequel.
Yeah, the
What are you
prequels
talking
isn't
about?
one film.
They're Oscar worthy. How
But they're
dare?
not.
They're not
pre-
as bad as people say.
No, the
Alright,
prequels are awful. The prequels are awful.
The pure
Right, so-
genius of the prequels cannot be appreciated by your
So the
average
Phantom Menace,
individual.
if Jar Jar was removed, would you rate it?
No, because it's boring. It's very, very boring.
What do you find dry about it?
What do I find dry about it? The fact that they're on a
Because
desert planet for the whole movie.
it's more fast-paced than the newer films, and yet you're saying it's more boring than them. What is...
No,
that's-
no. I don't know. I don't know if you can say they're more fast paced. I guess George Lucas had to cram a lot into a short space of time. If that's what you mean, more fast paced it is.
Because what I've heard from critics is that the storyline isn't very well structured because
Yeah, that's because he'd write his stuff
For
on the way.
No, people said why didn't Mace Windu bring more Jedi in to arrest Palpatine? But then if they kill Palpatine, he couldn't be in the rest of the other movies. So
Yeah, so he floored himself from the get go by writing the original trilogy.
yeah, but supposedly he'd already written all of this before.
No.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
original
no.
trilogy. The original trilogy was fine until he wanted more money.
Yeah,
Because originally
it's not that he wanted more money. He was minted before the original trilogy finished. He just wanted to explain what happened before because that's what the fans wanted.
Yeah, because he got all the revenue from all the merchandise.
Yeah.
Okay, how would you fix the Phantom Menace then? What would you do? More planets?
Record it on film instead of digitally. Do more on set.
Yeah,
stuff rather than
that
green
is
screen.
true. I would say CGI is a great tool, but at the time,
Yeah,
CGI was
1999.
it was just wasn't good enough at the time. Get rid of all the CGI. Get rid of Jar Jar Binks. I
It looks
know
like-
he's a funny character and all that. Get rid of Jar Jar Binks.
No, he's not
Also,
funny.
Get rid of Qui-Gon
He's not
Jinn.
funny.
Get rid of Qui-Gon Jinn as well.
So just keep characters that fans want to see instead of
Yeah.
putting
Also,
bland characters who are
also,
going to die. Mhm.
Get rid of all the stupid sciencey midichlorian stuff. You
Yeah,
don't need that.
Qui-Gon Jinn gave more depth to Ewan McGregor's character in like where he's come from, and because people are interested in his beginnings when they saw him in the original trilogy.
Yeah, I get that. I get that people want more depth to Obi-Wan's character because obviously he was in the original trilogy, but George Lucas killed him off so quick that people wanted more from him. So sliding him into the original trilogy kind of like gave people that satisfaction of they've seen more from him. Even
But
though
they're
now,
also... Go on.
no, even though now apparently there's a rumored Obi-Wan spin-off.
Yeah, I think that is actually happening with Ewan McGregor because he's a lot older now. They can fill the gap between the prequels and the original trilogy with the age he is now.
Yeah.
When it comes to the story, there are certain parts of the film which don't really make sense. All right, Qui-Gon Jinn gets killed. Obi-Wan is hanging, right, from a whatever it was, and I don't get why your man didn't just kill him. He was just scraping his lightsaber along the side for no reason.
Yeah, it was like
Why?
It was like a power thing. Like he's defeated Obi-Wan, and
Yeah.
Even though Obi-Wan flips over him and slices him in half.
Yeah, well, it gives Obi-Wan the power. Like switches it. It switches their positions.
Why are we even defending this film? Why? Yeah,
no, the Phantom
I
Menace
think
was awful.
I think it's one of the better prequels. I will say that.
I think it's
But
the second best.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, it's the worst.
No, I think Attack of the Clones is worse.
I think that Attack of the Clones is worse, but it's more entertaining.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
more like fighting and stuff. I guess.
Yeah, I could go for that. You have
Okay,
to-
so Phantom
would-
Menace is
no,
the worst.
Would you admit the best part of all three prequels is the Darth Maul fight?
Yeah, no. Well,
It was yeah, it was better than the other ones.
Yeah,
The
But-
second best fight is the Anakin Obi-Wan fight.
and then maybe the third.
That fight's ridiculous though.
Mace
That
Windu.
goes on for a while.
Then Mace Windu who?
It goes on.
Mace Windu and
I'd say that the Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul fight is pretty.
oh yeah,
pretty good.
we've said that. There's
Yeah, no,
I
that
know,
is
but
the best part of the prequels.
But compared to but I mean, like compared to the other ones are too choreographed. They just
Yeah.
look.
yeah, okay.
What did you feel about him being in the Han Solo spin-off?
Who?
That
Darth
was
Maul.
just Disney. That was Disney getting their money. That was
yeah, that was
Disney's way of
weird.
getting more money.
It was
They
Adam-
opened it. It was a bit. They didn't need that. They put him in there.
the is it Star Wars Rebels or whatever it is?
Yeah,
He's
Rebels.
alive in that, so I think it was not so much money, but I think it was very much driven by money. But I feel like it was also continuity. They just wanted to like fill gaps and stuff.
Yeah, because Rebels is still canon to the other stuff, but then there's some stuff that they made uncanon, and
Yeah, they like uncannoned a load of the books.
yeah, I think a lot of the past Sith history is all gone now.
Yeah. Right, so so moving on from the prequels.
Oh,
what
actually,
the-
if we talk about Darth Plagueis for a little bit, because he's mentioned in the third episode,
yeah.
but they've made him uncanon, so his name's just floating about in the prequel.
I'm pretty sure he is canon.
No, the Darth Plagueis book, I'm pretty sure is uncanon. You
Yeah, it
can
was-
like have a
it
go at me
was.
if you want in the comments.
Yeah, but is the canon is it because he was mentioned in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, he's canon. I just think his backstory is no longer canon.
Yeah, because
Well, I mean, everyone wanted Snoke to be Darth Plagueis until Ryan Johnson had Snoke sliced in half for no reason, really.
oh yeah, why did they build him up like that and then just kill him off?
I don't know. Well, J.J. Abrams built him up.
Oh, he died in the second one, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what the thing is about getting different directors for each film, because technically what it is it's a long 3-part film. And if you get J.J. Abrams to direct the first one, he's got one vision for how the story's going to go. But say then you get, I don't know, Martin Scorsese to direct the second one, he's going to take it in a completely different direction to how J.J. Abrams took it. And then if you on the third one get J.J. Abrams back in again, then he's gonna want
He's
to
gonna
fill in
pick up.
gaps. Yeah, it.
But
It's
yeah,
just-
it's going to be a mess. It's already a mess. It's already a mess.
Last Jedi opinions.
The Last Jedi was
Luke was
a waste of time. It was a weird film, but it wasn't strong. It wasn't a strong film.
Yeah, they kind of ruined Luke's character with his intentions to kill Adam Driver's character, because he wouldn't have done that in the original trilogy. That's not how he was built up to be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I think
Yeah.
Star Wars is so big because of the original trilogy, and then the
Yeah.
prequels came along and sort of ruined it, and now they're
They
trying to
slightly
do it
refined
again, and they're doing it a little bit better, but
Yeah.
they're just copying the original trilogy.
Well, in the first one, in the 7th episode, they did. They basically just copied New Hope.
Yeah, that's a controversial.
However,
people.
in the 8th one, it was it had elements of the other films, but it wasn't like a carbon copy of the other one.
I don't know. I feel like this is more of a story than the original trilogy. I don't know, because the original trilogy feels like two separate stories that are linked together with the Return of the Jedi.
How?
I don't know. They just don't feel like one big story with like the whole rebuilding the Death Star and blowing it up again.
Oh yeah, it's true. They kind of keep using the same idea, like with Starkiller Base as well. They've done the same thing again.
Yeah,
They need
I
to go in like a new direction now, because
I think that this one's more of a cohesive story. Like the second film in this one is progressing the narrative instead of, I don't know. I thought Empire Strikes Back. Don't get me wrong. Empire Strikes Back is probably the second best Star Wars film.
is that the
ever.
fifth one?
Well, I think we can all agree
yeah,
that
that'd be fifth. A New
I think
Hope is
we
the
all-
best.
yeah, I think we
I
can all
like-
agree that Star Wars has always divided fans. Not really with the original trilogy, but after that, definitely. But they are still continuing to entertain, mainly through discussions like these, because they are so. Would you say they're unique? I think they're unique compared to most other science fiction
We
films.
got a lot of different opinions about everything.
Yeah, and it's
There's
interesting
so
to hear what other people think.
There's so much depth that George Lucas made into like each character and where they've come from, and if you read all the books before they were made on canon, there's actually a lot to everything that happens, and it's not just some pointless thing.
Oh, can I make a point?
Yeah.
Star Wars was original. It's not
Yeah.
original anymore.
No, it's just copying itself.
It's copying itself, and also other people are copying it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the same with a lot of like big films when they first come out, and then people just jump on the bandwagon of like fantasy. Like when Star Wars came out, as soon as it came out, there was a massive influx of sci-fi films, wasn't there?
Yeah. Yeah.
The golden. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, George Lucas has been involved in a lot of experimental film before he made Star Wars, and I feel like he put elements of that into the original trilogy, and it was kind of like groundbreaking for the time. And a lot of people liked that because it was so popular, and I feel like everyone's copied that now. And it's all being used, so they're just copying themselves, and it's just a bit boring now.
Well, I mean, the golden age of cinema is kind of gone now. The only directors that are still making films that are unique every time are directors such as, Quentin Tarantino, Steven Spielberg, that lot. And talking about Quentin Tarantino, what about his films?
Well, him a lot like I wouldn't claim that George Lucas is an auteur. I'd claim that Quentin Tarantino is, but I would say that George Lucas was pioneering in the fact that he opened up a new genre. Well, he didn't open up the genre completely, but he popularized it. Whereas with Tarantino, I would definitely claim he's an auteur, even if he's taking snippets of other films from everywhere.
Yeah, but that's kind of part of the auteur.
I think that's part of who he is as a director. He wants to layer the film in a way that only a true cult fan of all these films will be able to understand everything.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. That is a film that has yet to be topped, I think, by any other director. He's making a film. He's going to make a film called what's it called?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's the one. So that looks interesting, but that is based off true events, I believe. Pulp Fiction.
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, well, Pulp Fiction is. We've all watched Pulp Fiction.
Have you?
It's definitely one of the top. I'd say top 50 best films ever made. Would you say that? Would you say that top 50?
Yeah, it's in my top 5 best ever films. Like, it's in my top 5 favorite films. Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction.
I mean, there are a
And-
lot of films. 50 best of all time. Pulp Fiction is there somewhere. Definitely one of my favorite films. It's a complicated movie. So let's talk about it.
Well,
Yeah, I don't.
It's not really. It's just he's mixed up the narrative and kind of put.
Yeah, he
different-
has mixed up narrative, but it's complicated at first glance. But when you really
Yeah,
take
I
time
think-
to figure it out.
Yeah, so basically, what I think is you don't have to be really intelligent to understand Pulp Fiction. It's not one of those you have to like
It's
know
just
your
for
history or
entertainment.
anything. Yeah, it's literally just for entertainment. You haven't sat through the film to find out, oh, well, the war was a really shit time. Maybe we should respect veterans more. Or, oh, I didn't know about that disease, or I didn't know that there was this poverty in India. You don't sit through the film to listen and to learn about that. You literally sat there for pure enjoyment and nothing else.
Yeah, I think that his direction to mix it up a bit is a way of
It's making
sure that the audience don't switch off. I think that's a good technique used by Tarantino there. It's not too hard to piece the film together. However, he allows whoever's watching the film to enjoy it, but also concentrate, which is something that a lot of people do switch off watching films.
Doesn't he do that in the Hateful Eight as well? Doesn't he mix up the?
Yeah, I
in-
haven't seen that yet. Actually, I'm going to watch that.
Hateful Eight, probably not one of the best, but it's still like nowhere near awful. It's a pretty decent film. He doesn't
Out of 10, what
mess
would
up. He doesn't mess up the narrative as such. There's a giant flashback which takes up quite a big portion of the film, which explains what you've been watching, which I think is good. But one thing which he uses, which Elliot will be able to remember, is he uses like the title cards for the
Yeah.
different. They're not really. He doesn't number them chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 in Pulp Fiction, but in the Hateful Eight he uses that and he numbers them chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4.
Yeah. Would you say he's lost his originality because he's probably? I think at this point he's just kind of copying himself and what he's done right, and he's not really experimenting with anything there.
I don't know because Hateful Eight and Django are kind of set in a similar sort of era, cowboys, that sort of thing. But before Django, he hadn't done a cowboy film.
Yeah.
I guess you could class Reservoir Dogs as kind of a cowboy, like a cowboy feel.
Well, they've all got
But
Western tinges to them because they've all got elements of the classic Western to them.
yeah, they do. I think that even now he's still just picking away from different films and adding to his own film.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're less original in any way, but I don't think he's as original as he was at the start. But that's the same with everyone. That's the same with everyone in anything. If you're an
George
artist,
Lucas.
yeah, definitely.
Star Wars, yeah.
If you're an artist,
Well,
if
it's no secret that Tarantino was hugely influenced by Sergio Leone, who directed The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So Western themes are prevalent throughout most of his films. And, as a result of Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, it shows that Tarantino as a director is very focused on the Western sort of story and how those films are shot. And The Hateful Eight is a sort of homage, I'd say, to older films such as The Good and Bad, the Ugly, due to the
He's got
intermission.
A lot of in his films.
Yeah.
It's for the highbrow audience, the cultured people, and the people that have seen other films as well by these famous directors.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think when he wants to do 10 films in total, I believe. So when he gets to that 10th film, I think he will go down in history as one of the only directors who carried on that way of filmmaking, always going back to the golden age of cinema, which a lot of people today don't appreciate.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the last film that I think it was probably one of the longest films we've ever seen altogether
Silence.
was Silence. Yeah, that was it over 3 hours or?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was one of the
I'll look it up
longest.
now.
That was one of the longest films I've ever seen.
Well, I
Along
think
with-
that, yeah, it was long. I think that for me and Elliot and I should say, sitting through that film, we found out that we're not, what's the word here, Elliot?
Capable.
We're not cultured enough to watch that sort of film. Two Jesuit priests going over to Japan to find Liam Neeson. We were laughing quite a lot throughout that film, weren't we, Elliot?
No, it was actually 2 hours and 41 minutes. It wasn't over 3 hours.
Oh, but it was close.
It was close.
I enjoyed that film. I enjoyed it a lot, but I don't know. I felt like it was a bit too artsy in places, and it definitely was very long. I think the choice of I didn't really like the cast.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
think Adam Driver was a
one
good
of the
addition.
biggest,
No.
Yeah, I'd say so. He had one of the best deaths I've ever seen in a film,
Oh,
getting
God,
pushed
no.
down with.
That was awful.
Okay, that was probably one of the worst moments of the film.
It was one of the funniest.
He drowned in about 5 seconds. I guess that's what happens when you're starved for weeks.
He was
he-
directed by
he-
Martin
he-
Scorsese.
Yeah, it was directed by Martin Scorsese.
I didn't know that.
What would you give that film overall out of 10?
7.
Yeah, 7. 6.5, 7 at a push.
A 7.2 is what IMDb gave it.
Okay.
The Guardian gave it 4 out of 5.
God.
I know.
It would be innate if Adam Driver hadn't. I think if Adam Driver had lived throughout the whole film, I would have appreciated it more. I think he brought a certain aspect of. What were you saying? You didn't really do that good a job, did he? Did he really?
No, I don't rate Adam Driver as an actor. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, he did get an Oscar nomination, so
Yeah, he got an yeah, but then Rami Malek got an Oscar, won the Oscar for Best Actor. And don't get me wrong, I love Bohemian Rhapsody. It was a great film.
It's just because he was Egyptian.
No, I don't know.
What was
I
that?
don't
What was
know.
that?
He's an Egyptian refugee.
Yes.
Immigrant. Sorry.
That's why they
Second
gave him the
generation.
Oscar, isn't it?
Yes.
No, I just don't think it was Oscar worthy. It was a great performance, and I really enjoyed the film, but I don't know.
What would you say the worst film was?
There was
What was the
nominated
worst
for an
film
Oscar.
in 2018? No, just the worst film.
Oh,
Definitely Black Panther.
No, there's shit like The Meg.
The Meg wasn't
The
nominated.
Meg.
No, we're not on about nominated. We're just on about films that came out in 2018.
You haven't seen The Meg, so you can't say anything.
I
have
think
seen
that 10
minutes of The
Me
Meg.
and
the Meg was Oscar worthy. What's the? I can't remember the name. Skyscraper, Oscar worthy. The Academy are looking at all the wrong films. The Meg and Skyscraper were
No, the thing is,
very good.
they're
Was
not.
Daddy's Home 2 2018?
And Daddy's Home too. Yeah, all those films. No,
they're
but in
not
all
good.
seriousness,
I feel-
Skyscraper was awful.
I feel like there's certain actors that if they're in your film, it's kind of like a bogey film. So
The Rock.
Will Smith, I
The
feel
Rock.
like he's gone down. The Rock, definitely.
Vin
Kevin
Diesel.
Hart.
Will Smith after Rewind has definitely gone down. Andreas.
Will Smith's in the new Aladdin film, isn't he?
Jablinski Games.
No, I like Jack Black.
Yeah, but that film was that. Yeah, Jack Black. All those actors. Any
Jamal.
actor who constantly signs up to mediocre films gets typecast. I think The Rock, Jack Black acts in good films, but not really.
Yeah, I'm not a big Kevin Hart fan. Shoot me if you want to, but I just don't. I don't find him funny. I've
Wait,
seen some of his stand up, and I thought, okay, that was I chuckled a bit, but I don't laugh at his films.
okay, would you go and see Terminator 6 with an all-female cast?
Right, right. I will give it a shot. I might not go to see it in the cinema, but if it comes out on Netflix, I would definitely watch it.
It's going
And I'm
straight
not.
to DVD.
Is it going straight to
I think
DVD?
I'd watch it with Elliot. He always brings a certain experienced
that?
films
Evidence to the,
because he laughs at every film. You can bring him to any film, he'll laugh at it. Silence, he laughed.
Laughed at it.
You made me laugh every single time Adam Driver was on. You
Also,
laughed.
you know that really long silence in the Meg when the Niche dies?
The Who?
The Niche.
Who's that?
Yeah, I know. Me and Keith know the blonde fat guy when he dies. There's a really long silence, and Keith bursts out laughing when everyone is silent in the cinema.
Yeah, no, that was bad. That wasn't good. Yeah, the Elliot decided to call this guy the Niche. Don't know why.
Someone we
He
know.
got devoured.
Do you think the Meg was just a poor attempt to remake Jaws?
Yeah.
No way. No, they knew what they were doing.
They knew that they were trying to make a shit knockoff of Jaws.
No, they were just trying to make.
They knew they were making a shark film for money. That's what they were doing. They were making a shark film for money. Simple as that.
Right, Keith. What's your top 5 films of all time?
Top 5 films of all time.
In terms of quality rather than your enjoyment.
Yeah, in terms of like Oscar worthy.
That's tough. Of all time.
Yeah, of all time.
You don't have to list them in a certain order. Just throw out a few names.
I'd say Django Unchained is one. I don't know. Did that win an Oscar, people?
I
don't know.
It doesn't have.
No, I don't think it did.
He doesn't.
But I mean, another Tarantino film. We've already mentioned it.
Pulp Fiction.
A slave who is set free by Christoph Waltz's character and becomes a bounty hunter. You know that it was empowering and it was entertaining. He did a good job in that film, Tarantino. I think it's one of his best films. I think he took a risk with it. A lot of people did ask him questions about that film. One interview on Channel 4, I think he got really annoyed.
What else is
that film.
Yeah, what else?
Say again.
Yeah, what else is in your top? Come on.
Just throw out.
Just throw out the names.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't know if that's Oscar worthy, but that definitely set that was another one by George Lucas and Spielberg that definitely set a trend.
An adventure film, really, for the time. It was.
Yeah. I think you guys throw out a few names. This is tough. There are so many films.
It's your top 5.
Right, so I've said 2.
What about Christopher Nolan films?
Dark Knight. Yeah, well done
for
reminding me about Nolan.
So
The Dark Knight. I don't think they'll ever get beaten.
That's 3.
Have you watched Moneyball?
No.
With Brad Pitt?
But that's one of your top 5, isn't it?
That is one of my top 5.
You got one left.
One left. I'm gonna try and pick one that all of us can agree on. I would say Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope.
I didn't actually like it that much.
I think it's a classic. I think that we've already said.
Elliot, your top 5?
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Uh, um, Train Spotting.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I know that's Keith's favorite.
Train Spotting, yeah,
The Rich Piano Chronicles.
Okay.
which isn't a thing.
It actually is. I've seen it.
Can I just say, now that he's mentioned that name, R.I.P. Rich Piano.
Pumping Iron.
Okay, that's 5.
That was 4.
No, it wasn't. That
Uh,
was 5, Elliot.
Hang on, no, the Rich Piano Chronicles is not a thing. That is not.
It
Is
It's
it?
on
Nah.
is.
Stop. Okay, fine. Well, apparently you think that's. Yeah, you know what? Fine. That's Oscar worthy.
No, I was doing
That's
it
top 5.
in like my opinion of the quality of the film.
Yeah, so that's 5. That's 5. That's 5.
Yeah.
It's 4.
Right, what's your...
That was 5.
Yeah, it was 5.
That was 5. That was 5. He just went through them in his head. He's like, yeah, no, that is 5. Andreas, top 5.
In no particular order. Pulp Fiction,
Mm-hmm.
Blade Runner, original,
Yeah.
Okay.
Which cut?
the director's cut.
The director's
The
cut.
The one
Okay.
without the voiceover.
Yeah.
I was very
then
bored
Lock, Stock, and Two
referring to
Smoking
voiceover.
Barrels.
2, 4. Tell my meter.
Yeah, so
No choice, huh?
wait, let me
choice,
do my
pal.
list. Come on, boys.
Blade Runner.
Pulp Fiction, Blade Runner, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Okay.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
That is, yes. Yeah, I can agree on that. I should have said that. Why
Yeah.
didn't I say that?
And final film. Ooh, The Godfather, the first one.
Yeah, I've heard that's good. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it.
those are good. Those are good choices.
Okay,
So,
Oh, and Terminator 2 for my list.
oh, okay.
okay,
Instead of-
6.
instead
6,
of-
then it got 6.
No, instead of the Rich Piano Chronicles, because it wasn't actually that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's all we've got time for today. It's been 30 minutes. I think maybe next time we'll look about extending it. If
Okay.
you got...
Next week we have Alex Jones as a special guest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
If the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
podcast is an hour, hopefully there will be a 3-minute boxing intermission for
Right, shut
any
up.
boxing fans.
End it.
Okay, Keith will give you like a mature whiskey will give you the rundown on if there's been a boxing fight, and he'll tell you.
Keith, mature whiskey.
Yeah.
Call me what you like.
He'll tell you who he thought won. He'll give you his scores.
Beastmaster 64.
So yeah. So next time
Crazy.
we'll try and extend the podcast. We'll try and make it an hour. If we get to 45 minutes and we've run out of material, then it'll be 45 minutes. But we'll try to make it an hour. And if you got any suggestions for what we should talk about in a podcast, or maybe we should just do a standalone video about it, or anything, just leave it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and peace.
Comment.